I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Ballyhale Shamrocks hurler Colin Fennelly ahead of one of the #toughest showdowns of the year, which sees the Shamrocks face off against Ballygunner in the AIB GA Hurling All-Ireland Senior Club Championship final this Saturday, February 12th at 3 p.m. The game will be on TG Cahir and tickets are available at ga.ie/tickets. This year's AIB GA Club Championships celebrate the #toughest players in Gaelic Games, those who, despite adversity, don't quit, who persevere no matter how tough it gets, because tough can't quit. Yeah, you've been down this road a few times now, Colin, at this stage. Can you tell us what's it like year after year, continuing to come back, hurl all the way through the winter, and keep going on this journey?
At one stage, I thought I'd get sick of it, but no, you certainly enjoy it, and certainly the older you get, the more you do enjoy it. You don't kind of take too much into account of how long the year is. As much as this year probably felt like one of the longest years, even though we finished with Kilkenny and everything else, just still felt increasingly long. It's a huge opportunity, and these opportunities won't come around too often from now on. So, you enjoy that part of it, so you do.
Yeah. Has there ever been a part of your life where you're like, geez, I need a break from hurling here? And was that part of the county decision too? Because you do go through so many long winters with Ballyhale.
No, I don't think so, because I think it was back in 2017. We didn't win with Kilkenny, I think, for maybe 2 years, and we hadn't won with Ballyhale maybe for 2 or 3 years at that time as well. And just everything seemed to be going downhill, and all of a shot, a load of young lads came through in the club with the likes of Adrian Mullen, Darren Mullen, Owen Cody, all these lads came through, and we started winning again. And since that, I had that feeling before of thinking that we'd never win another county final again, and to have all that back, it's just an amazing feeling. And you certainly would not look back, because we certainly trained over plenty of Christmases, but we'll have plenty more of them hopefully as well, that we'll be able to enjoy without hurling. So I have to hurl over a few more, it doesn't bother me.
So, I mean, obviously one of the biggest things about being a successful team is having a great team spirit. And you won that All-Ireland in 2015. You've had massive change in the team since. And I would follow a couple of your players, the likes of Adrian Mullen, TJ Reid, on Instagram. And that's one thing that jumps out to me a mile, is that there seems to be great team spirit in that. But you had to transition in a new generation and do that. How do you think you managed to do that so successfully?
Look, the years passed by, players always come and go, so they do. And I suppose in probably 2017-18, just a huge amount of players came in out of nowhere. And Henry came in as well as our manager from being a player. And there was a huge change there, which was a huge excitement more than anything, so it was. Because I think that team just were off the back of win minor, so it was. So we knew there was something coming. And it was just putting all that together, and there's no better man than a guy like Henry Sheffield to put all that together. And he done a great job, and he's probably all about the enjoyment of it as well, so he is, and he brought that across from his own experience to make sure that we do enjoy the games, we do enjoy training sessions. He kept everything smart, so he did. Everything timed, everything was organised. He didn't keep us there any longer than ever. And we had those bonding sessions as well, and there was great crack there. And Henry at the time as well, he was in-house man, so he was. So it was great to enjoy it with him too.
So, you made a point there about didn't keep you there any longer than you needed to for a training session, because often with managers, it's almost as if you do more in a session or keep you there for longer, it's almost like we're doing more, so therefore we should be better. I mean, there are times when a 60-minute training session will get as much as you would out of an hour and a half or 2 hours. Is that kind of the point you're leading towards?
It is, and James Connor is actually much the same. So we get into training. James has every cone, every pole ready. So he does. He tells us at the very start of training, this training is going to be an hour and 10 minutes, and we're going to do this, and that, and that's it. Training's over, and you're done, dusted, and you just go 100 miles an hour then through the drills, because it's going to be over at whatever time. You know how many drills you have to do, and he just wants everything just quick. And hard, so he does, and it's just great to have that. Just the effort and work rate to put into it, knowing everything is ready there for you. Like he does be there with Dean Mason, I suppose, maybe 20 minutes before training, out there taking shots on Dean and getting Dean prepared. I don't know if James was ever a goalie before, but he's certainly done a lot of work with Dean, and that has obviously paid off for us.
Do you think that some of the joy is gone out of intercounty because it seems like there's a huge amount of meetings, and obviously you probably have to join collectively, even if it's in small groups, 5 or 6 times a week?
There is. You would have had that, and that's just something you probably can't avoid. And again, Brian Cody, the time he wasn't a man to have meeting after meeting, but they have to. There's so many games, there's so much happening, so there is, and it's just so much organisation, and then people come from all over the county. It's the same as every other county team. And you have to get up to where the likes of Limerick are, and just things like that had to happen. But certainly at club level, it is certainly a lot sharper and a lot briefer.
Yeah, and from your point of view, leaving Kilkenny, you were there for a long, long time, since 2011. And I think you only formally confirmed your retirement there in November 2021, but didn't play it since the 2020 season. What sort of conversations would you have had with both friends and family, and then ultimately with Brian Cody, before you decided that enough was enough?
There was, to be honest, there was very little. I spoke to actually Henry. I spoke to Michael. Spoke to my parents just quickly. They said just do whatever you feel. And there wasn't really too much to it other than that. Just took the time out, and the lads thought I'd actually come back, and I think it was after a month I knew I wouldn't be going back, to be honest. But it was great to have that opportunity, because at the time I didn't want to finish, but I just couldn't do another year. At that time, I just wasn't enjoying it, and there's no point in being there if you don't enjoy it. I wasn't going to make any announcement like that, and that's probably why it was so delayed. Because it's just going to slip away into the shadows. It's the easier thing to do, and it's certainly a lot more enjoyable back there. So it is.
So when you say you were a little bit conflicted, what were the things that were kind of almost pulling you back towards it, and what was it making you say, I've had enough of this?
It was the enjoyment of winning. I loved winning with Kilkenny. It was absolutely brilliant. You have some of your best moments there, so you would. And if there's a chance of that happening, you want to be part of it. But then, look, the other side of it, as I said, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point in dragging everybody else down with you as well? So you just kind of you go your separate way. You do what you have to do, and it's just good to have that.
What weren't you enjoying? Is it I don't know, Kilkenny weren't winning as much as they were before? I know you were winning Leinsters, but you weren't winning the All-Irelands, or tactics, or what would it be?
I don't know. I couldn't actually put a finger on it, to be honest. It's just something that just wasn't there. And that's just probably life, I suppose. In general, you go for so long for something, and at some stage then you just lose probably the interest in it. And as much as I lost the interest in it, I probably watched every Kilkenny game, and I've watched every Kilkenny game since, and probably would have done that before as much. Watched so many games. Look, I've always played with Kilkenny all along, but I wouldn't watch too many other games at all. Other county games, I literally just follow Kilkenny, and I enjoy watching the lads play, and keeping up how they're all doing stuff, which is great. Did
you get I'm not sure. Did you go to the Antrim game that Kilkenny played in the opening round of the league?
I listened to it on the radio, so I did. I listened to it on Casey Laura, so it was enjoyable enough from that perspective. So it was, actually I was into the shop, and I came back out, and I think Kilkenny were 8 points ahead when I went in, and I think there was only 2 or 3 points in when I came back out. I was like, how long was I in the shop for?
do you think that Kilkenny are getting closer or further away from bridging the gap to 2015 and their last All-Ireland win?
Either or. I think there's a number of teams in the same boat as Kilkenny, and I think Limerick are just that step ahead. We've seen that over the years, but again, like any other team, any team can lose on the day. And you can see that, like from Limerick Wexford match at the weekend. Wexford on top for most of the games, so they were, and everybody will say it's league and everything else, and that is grand, that is fair enough. But a team can be bet. And I think Kilkenny are in the mix. Limerick just seems to be that step ahead, I suppose.
Yeah, and so if I can ask you then about the weekend, and I would certainly bid it as, or look at it as an All-Ireland 3 in a row, and you being the first team to do it, because sure, look, you actually won the club title that was in the middle of, when there was the pandemic there, and you obviously can't win an All-Ireland title if it hasn't been played. So I look at it fully as that All-Ireland Club 3 in a row, the first ever. I mean, it would be serious history if he could achieve it.
Yeah, no, look, it'd be absolutely fantastic. It's something that is at the back of your mind, but it's something that you can't talk about, you can't bring to this, because it's not going to win you an All-Ireland final. So it's not. You have to focus on that 70 minutes. You have to focus on who you're playing and what job you have to do. That whole achievement of the 3 in a row, or just winning All-Ireland in general, is something it'd be in the back of everyone's minds, including Ballygunners, I suppose, if they're winning there first. So it's the same for everyone to that extent.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been very impressed with Ballygunner. Would you have watched many of their games?
I would have watched Ballygunner over the years because they've been in so many games, because they've done so well in Waterford, winning I think it's a 7 or 8 county title. So they've been in the mix for so long. It's nearly too hard to avoid seeing them play, and they just bring such a good brand of hurling, and they're a credit to Waterford. And Desi Hutchinson has probably brought new light to him as well. Look, I watched that Kilmallock game that they played down Parky Queeve, and they were a serious outfit. And I would expect them to bring that kind of similar hunger and game on Saturday, and it's a huge test for us. And it's up for us to break them down, I suppose, and it's what they're looking to do to us. So probably quite similar in a lot of ways.
Like you've obviously had a couple of close shaves along the way here. The St. Rina's game, obviously you had to take that to extra time with a last gasp goal. For St. Thomas's last gasp goal again. But do you get the sense that people have been talking to you about the idea of a Ballyhale-Ballygunner final for months? Because even I asked Stephen O'Keefe about it, and he said, yeah, people have been mentioning this final from way back. And I was saying to him, it was the same with Coola and the Piershik. We hadn't even finished the county championships, and people were talking about it 6 months beforehand. So have you heard that too?
We probably wouldn't have heard too much. People would have talked about it over recent years, but it just never materialised, because that's just because there's just such huge competition in Munster. It's absolutely massive. Any team could come out, and we've seen that. We played a different team in every All-Ireland, and even at that, the Untitled Championship is serious as well, because we were very lucky to beat Ryan is not alone, Mount Leinster Rangers just before that.
Yeah, this All-Ireland semi-final against St. Thomas's. Can you give me your recollection of it? Because I think you stepped in front of the goalie / maybe I don't know what happened, but the goalie ended up nearly diving out in front of you, and maybe it opened up the path for TJ Reid to blast it in.
Yeah, look, it all happened very quickly. And you see comments, and people kind of just more throwaway comments and anything of what this person is doing, what that person is doing. It all happens very quickly. I seen the gap. You walk straight across in front of it. TJ looks straight at you. You put your arms out as far as you can. You probably block the view as much as possible. And then it was probably just mayhem, I suppose, for them a couple of seconds. And people are talking about the keeper should have stayed in the line, but if he stayed in the line, he wouldn't have seen anything because he was directly standing right behind me. So he tried to get out in front of it, but by the time he got out in front of it, TJ had the ball buried. It moved fast. So it was lucky enough it didn't go straight at me, because it would have hit me as well. So
it was a brilliant match, I have to say. Did you think TJ was going to bury it when he laid down that free?
No.
No?
I knew we had a chance because there were 20 seconds on the clock. So if it hit off someone, if it was saved, you have that chance of being in and around the goal. But TJ was an incredible distance out. For him to score that, it's an amazing feat, and you can see that from the reaction from everyone else. He was not only out so far, he was well out towards the sideline. So he was, it's rare you see someone score from that distance.
And can I ask you a couple of questions about managers, because you're well placed? First of all, your brother Michael, did you always see him going into management, and what are your thoughts on so far how he's doing with Offaly?
I probably would have. He even when we were playing with Ballyhale, when he was there, he probably would have took a lot of warm-ups and everything else, and he really enjoyed it. And even when he left Ulster Bank, he went and did his career going towards kind of sports in that direction. So he did, and you always know that he loved that side of things, and that's what brought him into Offaly. There was an opportunity there for him there, and he's done quite well. He absolutely loves it, but he's getting huge support there with Michael Dygan there coming as chairperson as well, and there's just huge energy there at the moment, and it's going in their direction. So
Yeah. Would you see yourself going down that route of management or training?
I don't think so. I think
No?
we're very different in that aspect. But I was only actually talking to Martin Morrissey about it, and I think it might be just the fact that I'm so involved in, I suppose, with the club and just finished with Kilkenny at the moment. It's probably something that I wouldn't even think about. But if I stepped away from Ballyhale maybe for 1 or 2 years, all of a shot you could miss it, and all of a shot you might want to step in with a team to a certain degree of training or managing, whatever. But I'll have to wait for that time to come. But right now, I think I have a lot on my plate.
Yeah. Are you the sort of person who doesn't think too much about hurling when you're away from it? Because you see some people, it's all they think about, and others are able to just park it and then come back and play great.
Yeah, no, I'd be very much to doing other things, and I enjoy going golfing, playing tennis, everything else. I enjoy my job, and enjoy everything else, I suppose. And if there's a game on that you'd watch it. But other than that, I follow Kilkenny because all my friends play with them, and enjoy it from that perspective. So I would. So yeah, no, most of the time I quite step away from it. But good for my friends like that too. So they would.
Yeah. What do you work at? I see a high-vis jacket behind you. I'm thinking maybe on the side.
Yeah, we're on the site here. I was actually quite worried. There's consoles and there's a concrete pour there at the moment and everything else going on. So it's quite. I couldn't get across town to our own offices. Work with Fortis Project Management, so it's in construction. Yeah. So no, it's certainly enjoyable. We're on 2 Grand Prix here at the moment, so it is. There's a lot happening. So there is. So yeah, no, every day is a new task. Certainly in this job, so it is.
Yeah, and then with Henry being with Galway, I suppose it's no surprise that he's ended up in intercounty management. But when you saw the news, Henry's gone to Galway, were you surprised?
I was a massive surprise. Yeah, no, it was huge. You'd always want him to come into Kilkenny in some form, whatever way that is. Just from the experience from with Ballyhale, like he's brilliant at what he does. And if he came in as any aspect of it, obviously see the likes of James and Gary and those guys coming in and it just bringing huge experience. And you would love to see him in with Kilkenny because I think he would have brought a lot there if that was just a selector role, whatever it is. And the fact now he's got to Galway, I'm sure they'll look to hold on to him for a good few years. So it was a huge surprise. And I think he had enough on his plate when he managed us, and all he had to do was go down to the local pitch, which was a 2-minute drive for him, and he struggles to do that. So I don't know how he's getting up to Galway. I was saying before that his wife Deirdre is a saint, and she's still doing associates for him.
Yeah, it'll be odd to see him in a championship match standing on the sideline opposite Brian Cody and against Kilkenny.
It will. And look, it's great for Galway to get a guy like that. It was experience and everything else. But yeah, no, it was even weird seeing him in pictures with Michael. I think even shaking hands there the weekend. But look, times are moving on, and the game is changing, and we're probably looking to Kilkenny. There's quite good guys out there between Michael, Henry, David Herity, Eddie Brennan. There's a list of them there, so there is.
Yeah. No, just to finish up then, a quick Q&A, which you can answer them as short or as long as you like, but if you want to do a one-word answer, you can. But just the first thing, who's the most skillful player you've ever played or trained with?
I would say TJ. Outside of that, I'd go JJ Delaney.
Okay. Who's been your toughest opponent and why?
JJ Delaney. I used to mark him in training, and I think this guy's getting old now. And I think I surely have the better of him, even the pace. And he was always just stuck beside you, and the ball would come in, and he'd stick his hand around, just catch it, and just his skill level was just incredible. So it was, and he's still doing it. So he is.
What's the team you most like to beat? Club or county?
Tipperary with county. They're so hard to beat. We just had such great games over the years, and it's just so exciting, and just even the crowds and everything else. It's just a huge opportunity there, and we just had so many matches, and Tipperary have been on the better end of the last few years, and you see the excitement there that they have had. So I think the feeling's mutual on both sides there.
What's your proudest day in GAA?
I think it was my last All Ireland with the club. So it was, or even just captain in Ballyhale to the county final, to our last county final. I think they're just the pinnacle of my career, to be honest. And I was absolutely delighted on both accounts just to win so many All Irelands with the club and just to captain them.
Who's been the biggest influence in your career?
Certainly family. Michael has probably just always been there to probably mentor me over the years. And parents have always just stood by everything that we've done, which is absolutely fantastic. And certainly I have 4 sisters there as well, and that they watch every game, and they're there to support before everything. But certainly you can't go any further than family.
What's your favourite stadium?
Croke Park.
Yeah. What's been the biggest disappointment in your career?
Biggest disappointment? I've no disappointments, to be honest. Absolutely loved every bit of playing with both Kilkenny and Ballyhale, and as much as we've won, there's been losing days, but you've just learned so much from those days you've lost, and I don't regret or just no disappointment there, to be honest.
So who would be, like, from your Kilkenny days, who would have been the joker on the panel?
David Herity. Very funny. I was only at a wedding with, I think it was Richie Hogan's wedding. We were at the table, and it just brought back memories. It's just absolutely hilarious.
Who was the best trainer?
The best trainer? You nearly go along the lines, maybe Killian Buckley, Conor Fogarty. Those guys are machines. They just never stopped. Just huge athletes.
Who's the best dressed and the worst dressed over the years?
The worst dress is probably Richie Hogan. He just has no dress sense whatsoever. Best dress, maybe David Herity.
And then just to finish up, what's the player from another sport that you most admire?
Roger Federer.
Really?
Love him. Just how calm and composed the man is, and just what he's done for tennis, and just the career he has had. It's amazing. Love watching him, to be honest. And it's just a great battle even there at the moment with Nadal, Djokovic, and a few others there as well. So it's just enjoyable to watch.
Absolutely, a good pick there. Look, cheers for that, Colin. Appreciate it, and best of luck on Saturday.
No problem, Shane. Thanks very much for that.